Yo, what's up? Today we're reacting to a visual adventure video, basically talking about how we are cooked as a generation. I don't think the world knows how much damage we have done with the internet. It is ridiculous. This video is basically going to be diving into all the bad things that are coming with this next generation, called Generation Alpha. But yeah, enough let's get right into the video.
Clyde is obsessed with beauty products.
8th grade kid could not spell a single word correctly on this list. 8th grade.
Generation Alpha, the supposed future leaders and current generation of our society. But with the way they're growing up, will they actually be the future generation to make an impact? Or is Gen Alpha as doomed as people say it is? Who are Generation Alpha? Gen Alpha, or people born between 2010 and 2025, is said to become the most populated generation in history with over 2.8 million kids born every week. They follow...
Do y'all believe that? Y'all think we gonna be like, we actually out there going crazy? I heard people be saying that we're the most active.
Hey, yo!
During COVID.
Who was having kids? I swear, during COVID, that was the time where everybody was just having kids. Let's get right back to it.
Gen Z and are the children of the millennial generation. Although Gen Alpha is populating a large amount of society, why do other generations think there's no hope for this generation? With countless cases of kids acting out in public, lashing out, and behaving erratically, many believe that Gen Alpha is already ruined. You see babies and toddlers often throwing temper tantrums the second...
Bruh, if I ever seen a kid do this, hey, not even trying to like talk about, white folks, but they don't beat their kids. They're not even on no like, like forceful stuff. Just like give them a little spanking, like, once in a while. Cause that right there is crazy. Hold on, let me go back and show you what bro's face was just looking like.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your...
taken away. And teachers are begging parents to do something because their kids barely scrape by in school. Time and time again, we hear about just how doomed Gen Alpha is. But where are these horror stories coming from? And what makes Gen Alpha so different from all the generations before them? The short answer, the internet. The rise of iPad kids. When you think of a kid in today's day and age, how do you picture them? Most of you probably had an image of a kid with an iPad in their...
I'm not gonna lie. It was like a point in time where I was an iPad kid, and then I turned into like a DS kid. Like that transition from the little iPad to the Nintendo DS. People have different phases, but put down in the chat if y'all was an iPad kid or not.
Logically dependent one. Generation Alpha was raised by screens, whether by TV, a computer, or the infamous iPad. With almost 80% of kids owning an iPad or another version of a tablet, you can't deny the nickname that many call this generation, iPad kids.
This is what happens when mom and dad take away an iPad from 2-year-old Ashlyn Brooks.
These companies are brainwashing us. Like, that is actually ridiculous.
Since their creation, iPads have been used as a tool for parents who are simply too busy with work. Technology has proven to be a hassle-free way of keeping kids occupied, whether at public places, social events, or just during the day-to-day. With iPads being an evolved version of parenting in the 20th century, screens are simply considered the new nanny. And although parents may benefit from relaxing after work, iPads could be doing more harm than good. It's gotten to a point where Gen Alpha is entirely reliant on their devices, growing a digital addiction that they cannot seem to stop. In 2012, a 3-year-old boy was kicked off an Alaskan Airlines flight from Seattle because of the extreme temper tantrum he threw after getting his iPad taken away. The kid had been playing with a tablet before takeoff, but when planes ascend, all devices were asked to be turned off, and this one iPad was no exception. But when flight attendants tried to get the kid to turn his tablet off, he started to wreak havoc. The child began a raging outburst.
Okay, I've never understood this. Like, whenever I get on an airplane, I've never turned my airplane mode off. I never knew what airplane mode was for. I should actually go look that up. Whenever I got on airplane mode, it was always to like reset my data to try to get my data back if it was offline. But I never used it for when I got on an airplane. So that is very interesting.
Burst, hitting his head against the roof of the plane and desperately begging for his tablet back. His family tried to calm him down and buckle him in so that they could take off, but no one was able to control him. Things got so bad that the pilot had to turn the entire plane around on the runway. The boy and his entire family was escorted off the flight, causing them to miss their vacation to St. Martin Island. And this was over 10 years ago at the start of the iPad Kids generation. Since then, Gen Alpha has grown more attached to their devices. Social media has become a part of their day-to-day routines for better or for worse, and it's caused kids to become addicted to the internet. And the stay-at-home crisis that happened in 2020 only made things worse. Kids were locked indoors and were unable to get any sort of social interaction from other peers or teachers. Gen Alpha was treating technology like a full-time job, devoting 40 hours a week to using it. With social media being accessible to anyone, internet usage was at an all-time high. They couldn't go out to play because of restrictions, so the only way they could get any form of contact with the outside world was through their devices. Gen Alpha was going through critical development phases during the stay-at-home crisis. The online world became their new reality because it was all they knew, and considering the sort of horrible stuff that we have access to online, this is concerning. Technology usage on its own isn't...
The people I hang around, like, they would be at least playing sports or doing something else, but I guess it's like this is targeted to the people that were super heavily on their devices throughout the whole shutdown and everything.
Necessarily a bad thing. It's the content that's being consumed that's the real perpetrator. Parents may think that they know what their kids are watching online, but sometimes things aren't what they seem, even in videos supposedly made for kids. Internet brain rot. You might have heard of the term brain rot, popularized by
Brain rot has to be like one of the weirdest things that have come to like social media. Like it's funny, don't get me wrong, it is mad funny. It is very funny. But it's just used so much and just drilled into your everyday algorithm that it's like you cannot escape it. Like everywhere you go, you hear skibbity or munting or gooning or edging or mewing. Like everywhere I go, I'm just hearing it, you know what I'm saying? And then now like little kids are starting to pick up on it. Some of them don't even know what they're saying half of the time. It's crazy.
Brain rot is the term that internet users have created to describe those lacking proper socialization and are obsessed with digital content to an unhealthy level.
Oh God, bro, Gen Alpha content's some of the most incoherent brain dead I've ever seen in my life, okay? Like I can physically feel my brain cells frying every second I spend watching them.
Level 100 Gaiat, Ice Spice Riz W Riz Gaiat. You've Gaiat to be rizzing me in Ohio at 3 a.m.
When you think about brain rot, Gen Alpha tends to be the usual demographic that comes to mind. That's because the internet has been their primary means of interaction with the world since they were born. Brain rot content can also be identified by the constant usage of internet slang, overly bright colors, and attention-grabbing content that switches every few seconds. A key example is popular kids media like Skibbity Toilet that seem to capitalize on Gen Alpha's decreasing attention span by overwhelming them with hyper-stimulating content.
This meme right here had like every kid like 6th grade and up saying this. It was ridiculous. Every kid 6th grade and up was at least saying this once a day, maybe 5 times a day. It was very unhealthy.
Content. Skibbity Toilet is a web series on YouTube that features a variety of models from games like Garry's Mod and Counter-Strike as they battle in a raging war. The two sides are singing human-headed toilets, which are called Skibbity Toilets, and humanoids who have human bodies but items as their heads, like cameras or TVs. The series was created by a man named Alexei Gerasimov. It first premiered on YouTube in February of 2023. Since the first episode was released, the channel had gained
This is how I know my brain is rotten. I didn't even know there was lore to this. I didn't even know there was lore to Skibbity Toilet. I didn't even know there was lore. This thing has a whole storyline attached to it.
40.6 million subscribers and has over 15 billion views to date. Each episode features the Skibidi Toilets and other characters engaged in full-on conflicts, animated in the most obscure and dramatic ways. There's never a dull moment in the videos, which to Gen Alpha is the exciting part. On the surface level, this might just seem like out-of-the-box wacky content for kids, but the harsh reality of it is that Skibidi Toilet could be damaging to children. With the constant overstimulating content, kids get used to hyperactivity, making everything else feel mundane. This can cause irritability, a low attention span, and a lack of patience since kids are now so used to hyperstimulation. Moscow Man, concerned over Skibidi Toilet's detrimental effects on children, asked the police to block the videos from the internet to prevent kids from watching it. This investigation has gotten mixed opinions so far, with some claiming that getting the police involved over a kids series is ridiculous. Other parents also echoed the same concerns, believing that Skibidi Toilet may be doing more harm than good. While there's still no conclusive answer as to whether or not the series is negatively affecting children, this form of hyper-stimulating media has become a growing trend for Gen Alpha. Parents are becoming increasingly worried that their kids are becoming like zombies because of this content. Another popular kids show is CoComelon, which is usually targeted toward babies.
I think there's like two sides of the spectrum though. I think there's definitely two sides. Like you got one side that's Skibidi Toilet and mewing and edging. And then another side is like actually directed for kids, but it's still like a healthy brain rot. We were their age. We were watching, you know, Johnny Test and like Cartoon Network and stuff like that. You know, things like that. You know, Dora the Explorer, Go Diego Go. All the cool shows that were like stimulating in a good way. But now we've got Skibidi Riz and Ohio edging at 3 a.m. We're cooked. We're cooked. Yeah, we're cooked.
Younger children. CoComelon has become one of the most famous kids shows and has been a go-to entertainment source for parents to show their kids. But in recent months, the once favorable reputation of CoComelon has completely shifted because now parents are starting to discover a correlation between their kids' behavioral issues and the show. On December 26th, 2021, TikTok user It's Mama Bell posted a video that raised some serious concerns about CoComelon. The text on the video said that she had just switched from showing her kids CoComelon to a YouTuber called Miss Rachel, and that prior to switching, her children would just sit in front of the TV like zombies. In the comments, countless moms agreed with her, saying that Miss Rachel, who is a YouTuber who focuses on educational content, was much more beneficial for their kids. More and more parents realized that their kids were becoming addicted to CoComelon to the point where they wouldn't be able to move away from the screen, and they weren't learning anything from the show either. The show focused solely on keeping the children's attention with bright colors, repetitive songs, and fast jump cuts, all of which are tactics that the show uses to keep kids hooked.
Let's see how many seconds it takes for each one of these scenes to change. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
This epidemic of overstimulation can be compared to the feeling that you get from substances, hence why CoComelon is so addictive to children. And it's not just random TikTokers that have said this. Actual childhood experts have chimed in, agreeing that CoComelon is too overstimulating for kids, which can lead to addiction. CoComelon watchers are usually between ages 2 and 5, which are critical years when it comes to early childhood development. This is the time when kids are developing language, creativity, and social skills. And shows like CoComelon have possibly only made these tasks more difficult, and not to mention the disturbing influx of ElsaGate content that's taken over all of the kid-friendly platforms. And I have a whole separate video of that you can watch. All of this inappropriate content not only has caused concern for Gen Alpha parents, but also for teachers as well. Because not only are kids becoming more addicted to screens, but they're also doing much worse in school. The dumber generation. It's a common theme in social media for people to say that Gen Alpha is considered one of the dumber generations. The more kids become addicted to their screens, the harder it is for them to live a life away from it. That includes during school hours. It's as if kids are having a harder time paying attention, likely because the internet may be conditioning their brains to shorter content, hence a shorter attention span. Teachers around the world have been going viral on TikTok after sharing just how concerned they are about the educational development of their Gen Alpha students. They have said that students are now reading and writing at several grade levels behind, with a large majority of kids being unable to understand basic literacy, spelling, and grammar.
This 8th grade kid could not spell a single word correctly on this list. 8th grade.
God.
See, that's saying nowhere cooked. You're in 8th grade, you can't spell a single word, right? What we got going on? 8th grade might have been one of the easiest years of my life. All you had to do was show up. You have to try. You had to actively try to fail in 8th grade. How you spell? Oh my God. Hold on. Let's go back. We gotta analyze this. We gotta analyze this list. Commitment, readiness. He didn't even try to put the G. Particular. Yo, he spelled accomplished with a U and a C. Nah, this has to be a joke. He had to be trolling.
TikTok user QBski is an elementary school teacher from Atlanta, Georgia, who took to TikTok to express his concern for the students in his class. He said that although he teaches a 7th grade class, many of his students are nowhere near that level of education.
I teach 7th grade, they are still performing on the 4th grade level. Ain't nobody talking about how they just keep moving, passing them on. I can put as many zeros in this grade book as I want to. They're gonna move that child to the 8th grade next year.
This teacher even stated that some of the students in his class perform at kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade levels, even though they're just 2 years away from entering high school. And he's not the only teacher that feels this way.
And I teach at one of the more affluent schools. When I tell you that these babies cannot read, they cannot write, and they cannot comprehend, I'm not being funny. I'm being dead serious.
When it comes to high school kids, it's not much better because the creator, Cool Nace, aka N, said that her 10th and 11th grade English students were only capable of performing at a 6th or 7th grade reading level despite being in their upper years of high school. And other sources continue to claim that Gen Alpha kids don't only have poor learning skills, they have poor behavior too. Young students misbehaving in the classroom has become the new norm, and when teachers like N try to discipline them properly, it doesn't work out.
My principal told me you can't do that in Georgia. They have completely taken discipline out of education at this point, especially in Georgia. You cannot use the grade book to implement any kind of discipline or any kind of enforcement with students. And that is going to be the ruin of our kids.
But it's not just attention disorders that are at fault here. The internet has also given Gen Alpha a golden ticket when it comes to cheating their way through school. ChatGPT.
Managing money can be a total mystery, especially when you're juggling student life. That's why I found a game changer, Experian Boost. You can see your FICO score jump up an average of 13 points instantly, for free. Join me and level up with Experian Boost.
AI tools like ChatGPT can easily help kids finish their homework in seconds. The shift has reduced the emphasis on work ethic along with valuable life skills like critical thinking and communication. Without these skills, Gen Alpha has become prone to all sorts of influences because since they are so conditioned to only look at the surface level, they take most of what they see on social media as the truth without researching for themselves and questioning it. Everything they see online is immediately taken as a fact, which is detrimental to these young, impressionable kids. And companies are taking advantage of this. They're targeting a demographic that they shouldn't be. Kids. The gullible generation. Anywhere you go on the internet, you are destined to run into an advertisement. Whether on the TikTok shop or just casually scrolling on social media, marketing has evolved from billboards and newspapers to scrolling on your phone. Adults are able to understand what an organic piece of content is versus a paid promotion, but young kids are less perceptive of this. They use viral trends as guidelines for what they should or should not like, even if it's not meant for them.
As kids consume more online content, including advertising, they're being influenced to buy products that are just not made
for them.
We see this happening all the time with Gen Alpha, especially due to the rising influence of TikTok. But they aren't alone. Millennials and older generations drive forward these trends and make them mainstream on social media, one product being the infamous Stanley Cup.
Drawing screams of excitement and tears of joy. This year's hottest status symbol and most coveted holiday gift is the Stanley Tumbler.
This Tumbler Cup has become the reason for multiple news headlines and heavy in-person lines as early as 4 a.m. And because
some people might say this is a reach, but this is facts. I noticed that, you know, even back then, in like the 2000s, maybe? Like, it's like late 2000s, because I was born in 06, but I think it was like the late 2000s. They were selling these Uvu balls, and they essentially did nothing, but somebody, like some magician guy, would get on the internet and basically just like kind of play with the balls.
Huh?
I mean, wait, pause. He would play with the ball, and basically it would just grasp attention. This tactic was definitely used before, but now it's just being a lot more broadcasted and a lot more people know about it now. I mean, some things kids just shouldn't be buying.
popular, people are willing to go to the ends of the earth to get one. Although this is the new craze, if you want to get your hands on one, it won't be cheap. The Stanley Tumbler will run you back around $45 USD, with limited edition cups costing even more than that. This cost is pretty hefty for a water bottle, and it's definitely not one that everyone can afford, but there are consequences if you can't pay for one.
Ohio mom Dana Motika went viral on TikTok, posting how her 9-year-old daughter was bullied for bringing a less expensive look-alike to school.
Dana had Walmart as a gift for Christmas. Her daughter brought the cup to school after Christmas break, only to come home upset because kids in school were bullying her. The sole reason? Because her Stanley Cup was fake. Over the break, multiple girls in her grade had gotten real Stanley Cups as presents, and they were quick to call out Dana's daughter for her dupe. They said that hers was not as cool and made fun of her because of it. To us, it might seem wild that a young girl is being bullied over not having an expensive water bottle, but for Gen Alpha, this is their new reality. Gen Alpha has become possibly one of the most materialistic generations ever. With so much advertising being shown at their young eyes, these kids feel the need to buy everything they see, or face the fear of not fitting in. It's not just Stanley Cups that have proven this. Earlier this year, the beauty retailer Sephora made headlines after multiple story times about Sephora 10-year-olds went viral on TikTok.
Viral clips have been going around of kids going in Sephora making a big mess.
During this trend, dozens of people flooded the TikTok For You page with their own personal horror stories with Generation Alpha shoppers at the makeup store. They complained that the kids were rude and had no respect for anyone or anything in the store.
I'm in Sephora right now, and I'm going to count how many 10-year-olds I see. 1, 2, 3. Currently walking past a 10-year-old getting her eyebrows done. 4, 5, 6. There's a whole group of them over here.
Kids as young as 4 were shopping in the aisles of Sephora for expensive beauty products that they clearly did not need. And the reason behind it? The internet.
All she wants for the holidays is, well, not toys, but skincare products.
All I wanted this year was skincare and makeup.
Social media has become Gen Alpha's go-to guide for how to live their life. Whatever they see influencers do, they want to do. Whatever they see influencers buy, they want to buy. With every beauty influencer on platforms like TikTok and Instagram becoming obsessed with skincare, it was only natural for Gen Alpha kids to follow in their footsteps. But this can be a red flag, especially for parents, as social media sets a bad example for young girls. The Sephora Kids trend is a prime example. These young girls do not need to be spending hundreds of dollars on beauty products that are targeted at adults. These products have chemicals and ingredients that can be harmful to kids, especially the ones that have gone viral online. Drunk Elephant is the name on every Gen Alpha's tongue. Originally a skincare brand meant for millennials, now a larger portion of Drunk Elephant's consumer base consists of beauty-obsessed kids.
Okay, I don't think there's a problem with selling skincare products to kids. Now, when it comes into beauty, then it slowly bleeds over into sexualizing kids. I know that might be a very sensitive topic, but it is the truth. When you like push this agenda towards a kid, it then can really get easily misconstrued, especially when the parents think about it and just depending on how they are using this type of product, it can very easily be thought as you are sexualizing this child.
Priced from $20 to upwards of over $100, this is definitely not a brand that most kids can afford to buy, at least without the help of their parents. But is this really something that parents want to be getting for their kids? Many of these Drunk Elephant products contain ingredients like peptides, acids, and retinol, which can all be damaging to youthful skin. Retinol is a form of vitamin A that's known for its anti-aging effects, with higher concentrations being used to fight wrinkles. These kinds of high concentrations are regularly found in beauty products and are definitely not meant for young girls. But it's not only physical health concerns the parents are having about this growing obsession with skincare and makeup. It's also the mental effects too, because they're so used to the instant gratification that social media provides them. Kids can't do simple everyday tasks like brushing their teeth, eating food, or using the restroom without the constant stimulation of a screen. Now the question is Generation Alpha really doomed? I've talked a lot about the problems of Gen Alpha, but there are still many strengths that they have. Gen Alpha has access to more resources, knowledge, and tools than ever before. They're living in an exciting time, with technology advancing at such a rapid pace and them being so adaptable to it. If they're able to use the internet for good rather than bad, they can become some of the most intelligent people on the planet. And they're also born with empathy inside them. The future can be bright for Gen Alpha. All they need is a little guidance and a push in the right direction. We, as people who care, can monitor what our siblings are doing on social media. And as adults, we can teach our kids the value of hard work, and we can be better examples for them to follow. My friends, it's time to stop the internet from destroying this generation. Visual Venture.
Alright, y'all, if you made it to the end of this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I've got more videos coming on the way, like gaming, reactions, all types of other content. This is my first YouTube video, so it did take me very long to edit. We're gonna get more efficient in the future. I appreciate y'all for watching, and peace out.
Feel like the old